Yeah, all good. All good. Good morning. What a beautiful morning. I've just gone for a long walk around. I sort of started where the lake is there and walked all my way around. You can probably see the lake off in the distance and went all the way around. Good few mile walk. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful spring morning. Feels more like a summer's day. And I was doing a bit of reflecting on how when players go from youth team to first team, from the youth academy to first team, I remember on one occasion when Barry were in a relegation fight. So Chris Casper just taken the first team job at Bury Football Club. He'd previously worked in the youth team prior to taking the first team job. I worked alongside him in the youth team, and when he took the first team job, I joined him as a performance coach, fitness and conditioning coach. And the main goal was to keep the team up. That was the priority. And what Chris did, I think would have surprised a lot of people. He gave young players, the youth team players, a chance. And I talked in the previous video how when he gave Nicky Adams a chance on his debut against Darlington, he scored a cracking goal and got a standing ovation from the crowd. But other players that sort of Chris gave the opportunity were Buchanan, Parrish, and they all respectively had gone on to have good, careers. And I think most managers in that situation are probably going to go and play it safe and look for sort of experienced players. And don't get me wrong, we had a good blend of experienced players in the squad, so they were there. But I think what Chris did by bringing some of those young players through, by the way, gave it that extra energy. But he had the belief in the players, and obviously the players, because of that belief, they obviously had belief in themselves. That's the way I saw it. So the idea that the youth players come through, they bring that extra energy. And I think sometimes managers can sort of neglect youth team or academy players and go for the so-called more tried and trusted players or bringing players in. And, obviously at the time, it was 205. There wasn't any money. There wasn't really any money for Chris to sort of, at the club, to buy any new players in. He had to sort of figure out, loanings and that sort of stuff. And also there were players that it looked like were going to get sold as well. So that was going to make things even more challenging. And when Chris took the job, the team were at the bottom of the league. So to go in there, I think, and take the manager's role, and with the priority to keep the team up, Chris showed a lot of bravery. And I think personally, in my opinion, others might see it differently. Chris might see it differently. These are my words. I think Chris's experience of being in that sort of class of 92, Chris's experience of working with the youth players prior to sort of taking the manager's role, gave him that belief in what the young players were capable of doing. And I think for me, I don't like to give advice or anything like that. I'm not giving any tips. I'm just giving my anecdotal reflections. I think if you're a young player, you get a chance to play in the first team. I think it's really important that basically, some of the key things I would say, you get the opportunity. I think stay focused, make sure you prepare, you do all the right things. And the manager would not have picked you if he doesn't believe in you, and the coaching staff, they wouldn't have taken you on board. So, be calm. When the game starts, use the crowd energy. The crowd will all be excited because you're a young player who's going to start the game. Use that energy and direct it in a positive way and get into the game early. Get into the game early, some touches on the ball, movement, just get involved in the game nice and early. And if you do make a mistake, you reset and refocus, because all players, no matter how experienced they are, make mistakes. So if you do make a mistake, just reset and refocus, and sort of stay calm and keep focused. But I, in my opinion, I believe that it'd be great if sort of more managers showed that sort of faith in the sort of younger players coming through. That's just my anecdotal reflection and opinion, and a lot of managers do, no doubt, but I'm just reflecting on this specific situation. And if you sort of follow the team at that point, you went to some of the games, feel free to sort of leave a comment or your thoughts. But yeah, I think for me, You know, that was a lot of bravery from Chris, who'd just taken that managerial role, and the remit was, you got to keep this team up. That was a task on a very, very small budget as well. And added to that, there were injuries as well when he took the role, and it looked like some players were going to get sold as well. So Chris looked within, and I think his experience of coaching as a youth manager with the youth team, and I reckon sort of his belief in sort of youth players was instrumental in that situation. That's my take on it. Great to hear your thoughts as well.